Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Liverpool Latest. My name is Matt. I would like to start today's video off by giving you all a formal apology for my pronounced negativity, nihilism, downtrodden attitude towards this match today. Because I don't think anybody expected us to walk out of this with a win. I didn't even expect any of us to walk out of this with a goal. I was expecting an absolute mauling, a mutilation of sorts, a beating so hard that it would make Bing Crosby's kids blush. And for those of you that know the story behind that, well, let's just say that's a piece of musical history that's neither not a very good piece of musical history, but certainly a disturbing one at that. So I'm thinking all sorts of horrible thoughts going into this. Like, we are going to get our shit kicked in. What I got instead was a very stout defensive battle from both sides. What the game may have lacked in offense certainly did not lack in defense. Now, I can go into the numbers of everything like I usually do, but honestly, none of that really matters. Because it's a tale of two halves in this match. The first half, Arsenal are easily the most dominant team. The first 20 minutes even, Arsenal is creating an onslaught of offensive prowess. Okay? And somehow, in that first 20 minutes, Liverpool survives. And from that moment on, I believed it was anybody's game. It was anyone's game, but it was certainly Arsenal's to lose. Because if they couldn't score off of that, who's to say they were going to score at all? Now, I didn't expect us to score, but after seeing how the defense played, I was a little bit more hopeful that this match was going to be a little more even than I anticipated it being. So, I, for one, was pleasantly surprised with the result of this match. With that being said, this was not a win. It was a Pyrrhic victory, if anything. We didn't lose, but we didn't win either. And that begs the question of what Slot's tactics were throughout the course of the match. In the second half, Arsenal used all of their subs to create any sort of offensive onslaught that was similar to the first 20 minutes of the match. They did not do that whatsoever, much to their chagrin. Arne Slot, on the other hand, did absolutely nothing. He stuck with the same starting lineup until about the 92nd minute of the match when we had a horrible injury to one of our players, which I will touch on in a little bit. So, here's the problem I have with this. I don't necessarily see it as there's a problem and a non-problem I have. A lot of people will question Slot's idea to not sub anybody on at all to win the match or create some sort of offense to win the match. At the same time, and this is just me talking, I don't speak for the fan base, I speak for me. If I'm watching this match as a fan, I'm saying to myself, why fix what isn't currently broken? Because I never really, when I looked at this lineup, I didn't think that this was a lineup to score goals. This was a lineup to frustrate Arsenal from a defensive perspective. Now, granted, we did a very good job pressing in the second half. We arguably dominated the second half without a shadow of a doubt. Actually, it's not even arguable. It's pretty much a fact. Arsenal dominated the first half. Liverpool dominated the second. But the fact that Liverpool didn't make any subs to help the offense at all is something a lot of people I see question. And it goes to what I just said earlier. We didn't play to win this game. We played to survive this game. And I sit here and I've been wrestling with that for several hours now since the match ended. Hence why it's taken me a little while to make this video today. But I've been sitting and wrestling with this because at one point I wanted to defend Slot for this, but at the other point I wanted shit on him because why keep some of the players in the game where we could have had other players sub in and create a little bit more of a creative offense that could have resulted in a goal. Because there were times that we could have scored this in this game. Somehow, by the grace of God, we did not off that Bradley goal in the first half. But that was some divine intervention for Arsenal there, if I say so. But I question the idea of not making subs towards the end of the second half. I don't know why Gakpo continues to play matches to the full extent, and I'll get to that in a second. But the concept of the no subs is something I've been struggling with because I see both sides of the argument through my own, granted, skewed lens. But I'm curious to know what you guys think on the subject. I would like to talk about, though, a couple of players, 3 players to be exact, who showed out and did not show up at all in this match. I'd like to start with Milos Kerkez. To start this match, Kerkez had a very rough game. The first half was very tough on him, to say the least. Now, he was doing a good job holding down Saka, who I actually didn't know was going to play today. I must have gotten the wrong player when I was talking about who Arsenal was going to lose to AFCON, but it seems like Saka was not going to be one of them. Immediately, I'm thinking to myself, he's going to run all over us. Kerkez, to his credit, kept him contained for the most part. But in the first half, the Peacock commentators, John Champion, and there's another gentleman. I know his voice when I hear it because he and Champion are always commentating together. But, and I just can't, the name is escaping me. But he made a good point that Kerkez is constantly out of position in the beginning of the game. He has to constantly play catch up because he's not in the area where he should be, or he's playing too far out of where he should be. And because he's not playing his position great, Arsenal was allowed to press more than we probably would have liked them to. In the second half, though, it's a completely different story, because Kerkez is now locking Saka down, no problem. So much to the point where Arteta decides to sub him out of the match. And I'm not going to lie, it was the tale of 2 Kerkezes this game. One in the first half that wasn't so great, but had promise. And then the other half that did, in my opinion, a pretty solid job. Am I going to sit here and sing his praises? No. But I am going to give him his flowers where it's due. And he did a very good job in the second half, doing what needed to be done to lock down Saka. That said, he did make a couple of mistakes defensively where he gave up a couple of corners for us, and that made my heart drop because this is Arsenal we're talking about. Corner kicks and set pieces are where they make their bread and butter here. So that last corner kick that Arsenal had because of Kerkez, I held my breath and I let it out as soon as I saw that it went past the net as opposed to in the net, because I expected that to go in 100%, knowing our luck. So that's Kerkez. Let's talk Gakpo. If Gakpo would have never have gotten the ball in this game, I would have never have known he existed. I personally don't understand what Slot sees in Gakpo. As a matter of fact, Slot himself talked about the whole not playing Rio as a striker because there is someone above him that is a better caliber. Of course, with Salah being at AFCON, Isak being out, Ekitike not playing in this game, who's left in our striking core? Cody Gakpo. So explain to me how someone who's shown little to nothing throughout the course of the season, not just, he has some shining moments in a handful of games, don't get me wrong, but for the overall season, Gakpo has been complete and utter garbage. Okay? How can I take this man seriously, Arnslot, if he tells me tells a reporter, thus telling me, that Cody Gakpo is of a better caliber player than Rio? I laughed when I saw those comments on Twitter. I laughed. And it goes to, and once again, a performance like Gakpo's today blows up in his face, as it should. Because Gakpo, there was a position in the match, I believe in the second half, where Gakpo could have easily scored a goal. He has a wide open shot to the net. He could have at least made an attempt, but for some strange reason in his mind, he decides to cut it backwards to whoever's playing in that position, thus completely killing the press. Whatever opportunity we had, which I don't know, I don't remember how that opportunity came about. I don't know if it was like off of something that Wirtz did or that Bradley did or whatever. Whatever opportunity that was there, and you'll know what I'm talking about if you go watch the highlights, but Gakpo has a perfect shot to at least create an opportunity for the goalkeeper to make a save and make him work a little bit and maybe even get a rebound into a goal. Instead, he does the complete opposite and kicks backward, thus having to start all over again. I genuinely don't know what goes through his head. It's the same story every single match. So, if Gakpo is the best caliber we have right now, please, just lose the rest of the season. I don't care when Salah gets back. I'd rather lose. I'd rather lose at that point, just to prove a point to Slot that Cody Gakpo is not the player he thinks he is. And I like Gakpo, but he's been very frustrating to watch this season. Last season, he did very well. But this season, he's done absolutely nothing to show that he should be consistently starting as much as he has. And the fact that he is over the likes of Chiesa and Rio, who are arguably much more, even if they don't have as much playing time as Gakpo does, they certainly show much more effort than Cody Gakpo does in a match. I don't care if Cody Gakpo subs on in a match, but he should never start for us again after that performance today. It was terrible. Genuinely terrible. You know who wasn't terrible? Jeremy Frimpong. Frimpong did a very good job as well. I mentioned Kirkez. Kirkez was the official man of the match for Liverpool, I saw. For my personal pick, it was Frimpong. I think Frimpong caused a lot of chaos in the sense where he was the reason why we were pressing so well at times during the match. I think defensively he did very well. He did. I just can't say enough other than that. From my watch and my notes that I made in my head, Frimpong to me was consistently the best person on the field. And that's all I have to say. So, to me, Frimpong's the man of the match. Kirkez, probably a close second. But Frimpong was it for me. And I would like to know how you guys feel about that. I think without Frimpong today, we would have had not nearly as much of a pressing attack as we would have had without him. So, I would like to know what you guys feel. This isn't the point of the video where I am going to get very angry, so I apologize for any words I say that might offend some of you. First of all, I hope Connor Bradley feels better. That was a gnarly freak injury that just happened, not from any contact at all. I didn't see any contact that indicates that is what got him hurt. The conditions of the weather were so bad that the pitch was so wet that who knows what twisted inside of his leg, whether it was his knee or his ankle or God knows what. The poor kid goes down, and you can tell he's not going to get up. I knew he was not going to get up. And then when they brought the stretcher out, my heart just sank. And any good faith I had in this game was like, woo, like a, what's it called? Like a chart of like someone's earnings over the course of a year or something, or like a quarter, where it's like, hey, we were up really high. Oh, now we're going really low. That's exactly how I felt. What pisses me off is the Martinelli part of the story here. Because Connor Bradley is still technically on the pitch. I guarantee you he has no idea where he is because he's hurt. I would know. I dislocated my knee in high school, and when I dislocated my knee, it was like a freak thing. It was like I landed on my left leg and my left foot, and all of that momentum went to my knee, and my knee popped out, right? Playing soccer, no less, or football. That's the kicker right there. When I go down, I have no idea where I am because all I see is pitch black because my head is in my hands because I'm in so much pain that I just can't think. I don't know where I am. I know I'm on the floor, but where? I couldn't tell you. Probably the same thing happened with Connor Bradley where he has no idea of where he's landed or what's going on. He's in so much pain. Martinelli, for some strange reason, does two things that should have resulted in him getting decked right then and there by any one of our teammates, but that didn't happen, and I'll explain why I feel the way I feel about that. He throws the ball at Connor Bradley, then proceeds to try and drag him off of the pitch himself. Not a physio, not a doctor, not even the manager. Himself, because he wants to keep playing, because he thinks he's trying to delay play. And he's trying to get him off the pitch so that they could continue. That's uncalled for in any sport. I don't care what anybody says. Whether it's hockey, football, baseball, anything. Another player doing that to a fellow player on the field, regardless of rivalry, is completely uncalled for. And Martinelli is a piece of fucking shit for what he's done. I don't care that he's texted Connor Bradley because apparently there was a story that was posted from his social accounts. Like, I texted him, I apologized, everything's okay now. I didn't realize, blah, blah, blah. Fuck you, all right? Fuck your apology. I could give a fuck. I really could. As a person, you are now seen as an absolute fucking rat in the eyes of anybody watching that match. Probably your own fans, even, if you really think about it. Because I don't think any Arsenal fan could sit here and say that that was the right thing to do. Would you, if any of your players got hurt in that way, and someone, whether it's Liverpool or United or City, tried to do the exact same thing to you, how would you feel? That's my question I ask to the opposing fan base who want to defend such actions. Martinelli is a fucking cunt. That's all I have to say. That he's a cunt. And if there was any sort of action taken against him, I would fucking hope so. Unfortunately, Arsenal are top of the league, so they probably have a little bit more favor with whoever's in charge of making those kinds of decisions. But if it was anybody else, they'd probably be suspended 3 to 5 games. Martinelli should not see the pitch for the next 3 to 5 games, in my opinion, because of that instance. That is poor sportsmanship in any way, shape, and form. That's like Tom Wilson in the NHL levels of piece of garbage. And anyone who knows what I'm talking about knows, especially if you're a Rangers fan. I don't know if we have I do not know if we have a Rangers account within the Fan Arch network, but if they are watching this video for any reason, they know what I'm talking about in regards to Tom Wilson. Hell, they might even know what I'm talking about in regards to Jacob Trouba and how Jacob Trouba elbows players in the head and how that causes a whole uproar amongst opposing fan bases. So that was an absolute horrible way to end the match. To see Connor Bradley stretchered off and all of the shenanigans that occurred after the fact. Konate, bless his soul, I've been shitting on him all year, but goddamn it, that man stepped up and was a great teammate and shoved the fuck out of Martinelli for that one. He should have decked the shit out of him. Any of one of us should have decked the shit out of him, but they didn't. And you know what? I'm not necessarily upset about it. Excuse me, I just hit my mic. I am not upset about it because I would not want my club to be associated with low behavior like what Martinelli showed. That's so to everyone saying like, oh, we should have decked him, or Jones should have punched him 3 rows into the crowd, or if Nunez was here, he would have been deported because of his actions, or whatever, like whatever bullshit I saw online. Do I agree with you? Yes. Do I think we need to stoop to their level? No. Would have been really entertaining. Abso-fucking-lutely. And that's all I have to say. I don't think there's much more I can say about today's match, because all in all, at the end of the day, it was 0-0. Nothing offensively happened that was worth talking about because everything was either saved or deflected off by a post. So, thank you guys so much for watching today's Liverpool Latest. The Reds go unbeaten for another game, somehow, and Arsenal once again do not have a win against us this season. And that, in itself, is a win for me. Thanks for watching. You'll never walk alone. But I hope Martinelli never walks again.